Greetings. It's not just the dishes, sis. That clutter in your space is clogging your connection, blocking intimacy, and silently sabotaging your relationship. And today, Colette Roy is here to break it all the way down, just like we like it. Just like we like it. Relationship coach Colette Roy, founder of Clutter and Couples.
You got it.
Greetings, darling.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here, Selena. Really excited. This is my first live. I'm a little nervous. I tend to drop a lot of F-bombs, so those always get cut right out of the other ones. So I'll try and keep it to a minimum of those. But thanks for having me on, sister. Really excited to be here.
We are glad that you are here. Thank you for answering the invitation to say yes to come on the show.
Yeah.
And clearly, you don't know me just yet, but we're going to be friends when this is all over. I love deep conversations, and I got a whole program around getting your shit together. So
Oh,
some
very
custom takes
nice.
place. It
Well,
is
I look
totally
forward to
okay.
hearing that.
I want you to feel like you're sitting on the couch and you've already kicked your shoes off and all the things. So let's jump in and get started.
Beautiful.
How do you show up in the world, Colette?
I tend to show up with a lot of silliness and playfulness.
I
I
love it.
love to laugh. It is one of my favorite things to do. And so I think I've gotten a little bit funnier in myself so that I can egg people on to be funny with me. And ultimately, I'm going to win because I'm going to laugh more. So, um,
That speaks to me as if so the kid in you is always showing up.
totally. Yeah. I tell everyone I was raised by Smurfette. My mom loved to be happy. She loved to be really up and always bright and very, very cheerful. And I definitely have some of it.
I
I
love
do.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. I'm in a one of the practices, the community that I'm part of. It's called Sacred Woman, and we have this mantra for our heart and our mind to be light as a feather.
Oh, I like
And I
that.
feel like laughter will help with that, right?
Yeah. I think laughter breaks down a lot of our protective mechanisms.
Absolutely.
You know, if we feel comfortable enough to laugh, we're going to feel comfortable to be real. And
Ooh,
I'm in for real.
I'm
So,
in for real too.
yeah,
Authenticity, transparency. I
that's
love
right.
it. And it just keeps the weight out of the boat, like of
Yeah.
life weighing you down.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not taking
beautiful.
this too seriously. I love that. So let's talk about um the way you show up in the world with laughter. How did it morph into you getting to be a relationship coach? And where's the tie-in with clutter and
Yep.
couples?
So, I started my journey long ago. And I was studying to be a speech pathologist,
Mm.
and I was getting a lot of opportunity to interview clinicians who were in the field, and they were pretty unhappy. They were working in the big corporations, whether it was a hospital or a bureaucracy with a school system, and they all looked pretty powerless to how much therapy they could give to their client base because someone else was saying how much they could give. And I thought, I'm not going to go get my master's to practice. I don't want to set myself up that I'm going to have to be a Norma Ray because I'm already a Norma Ray. I'm going to have to fight and fight and fight. And I just thought, no, I want to take my life force and I want to create versus fight. And so from that moment, it became I'm going to go further into this cleaning business. I had a cleaning business. I was just cleaning a couple of homes. And I thought, well, that's interesting. This is a 10-year goal to become a speech pathologist. And now I'm just going to abandon it. But it was the right move for me. I thought, you know, I'm going to create something. And once I made this shift from I'm a house cleaner to I'm a business owner, it was
Yeah.
we're off to the races. Now my mindset is completely different. And I had the house cleaning company for about a decade. And by the time I closed it, I had 13 part-time employees who I adored.
Oh,
And it also just got to be too much. But I learned a lot about me creating systems and organization. So out of that business, what materialized was a cleaning client asked me if I would help her organize her craft room. And I said, yeah, I'd love to do that. And it was the first time that I had ever done it, and I'd ever done it for money. And I said, we did it. I had the best time of my life. And I said, and you're going to give me money for that?
Yes.
Yes, please. I have found the answer. And so at that point, I became a professional organizer. And
I,
so I have done that for 20 years. And I have been working in Boulder, Colorado, and with beautiful clients, wonderful human beings, and just creating order and helping people declutter and setting up systems of efficiency that make their life run better.
I love that.
It's been great. It's been amazing. And so, being in people's homes essentially for 30 years, I've had the opportunity to really see and be present for people's realness. Like they are in their relationship when they are in home. You know,
Mm,
I'm in there with them and I'm seeing how clutter is affecting the relationships quite a
I'm
bit, quite a
yeah,
bit actually. You know, typically each person in the world is going to have their own threshold clutter, you know, like their own clutter threshold. Like what's going to stress you out is going to be different from what's going to stress me out. And so you bring two people under the same roof, you're going to typically have some differences in how people deal with stuff. So
absolutely.
from witnessing all that, I wrote a book because I thought, man, people need some help with this. And
Yeah,
because clutter really does impact relationships. It's creating a stressor, and not just a little irritating stressor. Yeah, sure, it can be irritating, but it can, for some people, it can be a full nervous system trigger. Like
absolutely.
they are stressed. They are so stressed about all the stuff that might be on the counter or all the piles that are building up. And so, how that's impacting them is not great. They're probably doing some indirect communication styles of nagging, blaming, shaming.
Right.
They're not coming at it directly because I don't think that we have been taught how to communicate well. I know
Absolutely.
I didn't see that in my family. My mom never brought up anything. So she loved to keep the peace, you know. Honestly, I just don't think that's serving the planet anymore, everybody. So I'm here to say, let's learn how to communicate better with way more effective tools and also a lot less snark. You know, there's a lot of snark on how people talk about
I love
their
this.
displeasure about something. And I myself included, you know, I would tease a lot. I would, whatever was making me unhappy, I would sort of like bring the humor piece to it, but it was still snarky. It was snarky, sister. And I just don't think that that's really how we're going to get change to happen. Because listen to this change. So if I said to you, if we lived together, I said, "Oh my God, do you have to throw all of your stuff on the counter again? I've asked you so many times." And then so then that person is gonna, you're gonna have a reaction to that. You're probably gonna go into defense. You're gonna feel bad about yourself, or you're gonna feel mad at me. And instead, I actually slow it down and I say, hey, you know what? I wish so much that we could find a place for you to put your stuff when you come in the door so I don't have to feel stressed out. Because when all that stuff lands on the counter, I feel instantly anxious and that I can't get above water. And so saying it to that experience, to the person who is creating the stress, might really serve the relationship in a different way rather than, I thought you said you were going to pick up your stuff. I thought you said you were going to pick up your stuff. You know, that nagging piece is really going to be a slow drip of death.
I love
So,
I love
anyway.
that. So many things go through my mind around that. Um, what you're saying about the snarkiness and everything, and uh, my family definitely, will push a button for real, for real. And I absolutely in my day, but I've learned what that really looks like is candor. And
Mm,
I can be candid, I can be kind, right? But
I like
getting
that word.
absolutely getting it out,
Yeah.
right? You and I were having a conversation beforehand about or maybe that was just now with you being with the laughter and keeping a light heart and mind. And I feel that that helps, right? Just say what you got to say.
Right.
Keep it kind.
Keep it kind.
Keep it kind, but you don't have to be necessarily nice. And I think
I
also
like that.
that's
Yeah.
part of what takes place, right? Want to
Hmm.
be nice, want to be the good person, seen as a good person. So
Sure.
stuff gets stuffed down and
Yeah.
not out. And then when it comes out, it's a damn explosion.
It's an you're right, because they've stuffed it so long that it has to be an explosion because there's nowhere else to go with it.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I talk about in my book that I think we should just talk about in general in the world is,
What was the name of the book?
oh,
Did we catch it?
yeah, no, not yet. I'm sorry. It's Clutter and Couples, and how to organize your home and transform your relationship. And
Mhm.
it's a guidebook. There's questions after each section, so it's sort of journal prompting as well to get you to understand, like, why am I keeping this stuff?
Mhm.
What is it that's got me so looped into, I got to keep mom's china? I don't even use mom's china. I don't even know where mom's china is. I just know it's in a box somewhere in my house.
I want you to finish your thought that you were going to say to that. You had an example from the book, and then we're going to talk about because this hits home for me.
Yeah, I would love to go back to that. Obligational clutter is something I love to talk about. But I want to go back to what you had said about the stuffing, because a lot of us inside of our romantic relationships, we don't have the opportunity or the knowledge base to truly communicate well without a lot of snark, probably. And maybe there's no communication whatsoever. That's what I saw in my mom, no communication. But what I want to say is, a lot of us are afraid to communicate because we think it's going to explode. We think it's going to, like rise up and turn into something that's really big. So we're going to really protect ourselves from that by not saying what we need to. And we're protecting our nervous system because deep down, there's probably a real big fear of, I don't want to get in a fight. I don't want to feel disconnected from my partner. I don't want to feel off my game because we're fighting.
Absolutely.
We don't know how to fight. And I mean, again, I'm not promoting fighting. What I'm promoting is learning how to say the hard things in a very direct, kind, loving manner. And to do that on a regular basis. And I'm really a proponent for this particular tool I teach in the book called the Dyad. And I'm suggesting doing it every month. And you could start off doing it every week. But honestly, if you build that muscle together, it's beautiful. I'm just going to tell you real quick, three
It's about
questions. Three
hmm
questions. So I would say to my partner, we would sit across me. There's a whole protocol, and really it's all in the book, and it's bigger than what I'm telling you right here. I want to give you the
yeah.
shortened version, but I really want to give you these questions because it is so good. It's not my body of work. I learned it from a place called Accelerated Evolution.
Mm.
But what you say is, you sit across from each other and you say, tell me something you love about me. So you're getting some juice. You're getting to hear some really sweet things from your partner.
Hmm.
And then they'll turn around and then they'll say the same thing. They'll ask me the same question. Tell me something you love about me. You can go as much as you want. You can say as much as you want until you feel done. The next
Hmm.
question is, tell me something you think we agree upon. And
Mm.
that is a very beautiful place where you really get to see where you overlap, like where you really do show up as a team, or at least how you see the world. And that's important as well.
Absolutely.
And then the third question is, tell me something you want me to understand about you. And so this is usually where, if you're holding anything that
Mm.
week, it's not like you're just going to vomit onto them, but you're going to say, you know what? I really struggled on the day that I asked you to pick something up and you didn't. And I really didn't know. I didn't want to nag you because I don't want to do that pattern anymore. But I really want to figure out something that we can work together on to hopefully find a solution.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to get that involved. You can just say, look, I sort of had a moment where I was just pissed and I don't want to be pissed. So they're great questions. And if you do it consistently, you start to build this amazing amount of trust. It's beautiful. My partner and I have been doing it every month for 4 years, and
Oh,
I've never felt safer in my life. It
I love
really
it.
calms the nervous system down because you are creating some beautiful container together that allows for the hard stuff to come out, but also it comes out with a pretty sweet amount of love in there too.
Absolutely. Let's repeat those questions because I know people are going to be rewinding this video
It's a
to,
good
and
one.
we can drop it in there too.
Yeah,
You
it's
mind
great.
repeat? And I'm taking notes. So
Yeah, I love it. So the first question is, tell me something you love about me. The second one is, tell me something you think we agree on. And the third one is, tell me something that you want me to understand about you.
I got the third one. The third one is the cliffhanger.
That's a cliffhanger. Yeah, that's the one where it opens up. And the thing with all of that, my friends, is there's no dialogue, there's no conversation going on. It's simply a active listening when someone is talking. We pass a stone, we call it the talking stone.
Mhm.
And I talk about that in the book as well. And there's another beautiful exercise that we do, and I recommend it as well. And I'm gonna allude to it because it is a really important one. People won't understand how important it is until they do it, because it's gonna sound pretty out there. But if we're sitting in front of each other, now anyway, all right, I'll just go through it and then we'll talk about it. We'll set a timer for 5 minutes, and I
Mhm.
will say to you, please see me as a conscious being of choice.
Mhm.
And that's for 5 minutes, and we land it there. And you're just looking at me and I'm looking at you. And we
Right.
we are focused, both of us, on that sentence. And so I'm in my own process of seeing myself as a conscious being of choice. And my partner is seeing me as that as well. So 5 minutes goes off. We talk about what came up for us, if we remembered anything, and then we flip it again. But I'll tell you what comes up. Well, it comes up in a variety of different things, Selena. So many different things. Like when I look at my partner and I think, oh, she is her own person. Like
Mhm.
she has gone off and traveled the world. She was her own person before she met me.
Yes.
She is not mine. She is hers. And she just gets to share her time with me because I'm allowing that. And so it creates this beautiful autonomy that we're not enmeshed human beings in a couple anymore. We're just two people doing our best to love each other.
Yes. Oh, girl.
It's monumental, and every time we do it, something new comes up.
I bet. This sounds magical that you have the magic you have in this book. It's like,
It's
oh my God.
it's magic, and I talk a lot about well, I do a 101. I do attachment theory 101, because I think that's also a really important piece for people to understand their nervous systems. If they're
Yeah.
anxiously attached versus avoidantly attached in their romantic relationships, they're going to interface differently.
Dang, I feel like I need to go sit on your couch.
It's a good book. It's got a lot of stuff in it, sister. It really does.
I,
And it's really helpful in a lot of different ways.
I can't wait to listen to it. Do you have it on audio also?
You bet. Yep. I got it on all the formats, Kindle. And I actually read the book myself, and it's in my
My
voice.
favorite. I can't wait to listen.
Thanks, Selena.
Oh,
That's
I
cool.
love that.
Yeah, all in Amazon. At this point, that's the only place you can get it.
All righty, all righty, all righty. Wow. And so let's circle back with the dynamics of couples and the clutter. We've got some skills here that now you've shared with us, and we
Mhm.
know that it's layered in that. And I'm just wondering, because you mentioned relationships, and there's all types of relationships, right? You're
That's
a relationship
true. You're
coach.
so right. I've been talking to a lot of people in the cohort that we're in, and some of them are living with their sister, some of them are living with their mother, and they
Me.
said, "We need that."
Yes.
We need that. And I'm like, I think anyone and that's what I said, anyone who lives together can benefit from this book. You don't have to have a romance behind it, because honestly, when you're living with someone and they have a different level of clutter, you're going to get affected. It doesn't matter if you're sleeping together or anything. You're living together.
Because my mother and I, we're the same but different.
Yeah.
And I'm organized, neat. She's a recovering hoarder. She is way better than she was, but it still drives me insane.
Does she
But
identify as that?
hell no.
Okay, just check it.
Was that my inside voice? No, I don't, she's never used that word. I'm certain she knows. She identifies her things as collector's items.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a collector's. It's a
Yeah.
collect. Did you have to collect 15 of them?
Right.
You're
Right.
never using it. So I give her some grief here and there, but I
Yeah.
also give her some,
Grace.
this is way better than it was.
Right.
Like, why are you doing that?
Sure.
And it's with everything. And I know too, it's that baby boomer generation, that
Sure.
whole, you
Yeah.
know,
Hold on to it.
collecting the things and everything. And I'm like,
Sure.
so what I'm working on, what I would love some input around with that is I want, she's 78.
Yep.
I would love for her, if they're collector's items, sell them and reap the benefits from them because it's just going to leave us with them. And
Totally.
we're not, yeah, it ain't
You're
staying.
not collecting them.
No, I'm not a collector of any damn thing.
Right.
Like
Right.
nothing.
Have
I
you watched it?
minimal
Have you talked to her about it?
all the time. Well, I'm not sure if I talk to her.
Okay. Now try that avenue. Try that because if you can actually start to show her or maybe ask her the right questions. That's a lot of what I do when I work with people one-on-one is I'm asking them the questions for them to get deeper inside themselves about understanding why they think they should keep it. And so be curious more than anything.
Oh, and I totally am because I want to know, and I might
Absolutely.
need to record her because I want her to do a book too. So many
Mhm.
things for her where, yeah, I could go on. This could be just like an episode with just me and you, girl. With all
Well,
y'all,
I'll come back on. I'd love to. And maybe your mom will come. Maybe she'll let us have a
never.
conversation. No. Okay. All right. All right.
No, no, no. She would never.
Okay.
It would be interesting. I'm gonna ask her though.
Oh,
I'm
please
right.
do. Yeah, because and we're not here to make her get rid of all of her stuff. We're really just please make sure she knows that. Mostly, we're just curious how she's gathered these thoughts about collecting, because typically I come from the East Coast. I grew up in New Hampshire, and I remember that was a really big thing in the East Coast. Was
Yeah.
oh yeah, I have a whole wall of little spoons from all these states, and I thought
And the shot
yeah,
glasses.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So many we can go on and on. We can collect
absolutely.
anything. But I feel as though it was this weird thing that came from the East Coast. I do not experience that here in Colorado, where I've lived for 30 years. I don't think people really get into that stuff. They're too busy outside playing.
May you might be onto something. Yeah, you might be onto something. I don't sense that so much from her. Um, I would have hoped she would have stopped a long time. She's way better though.
But do
She
you think she learned it from her family?
uh, not in the sense of collecting,
Okay. All
in the
right.
way that she sees it. Not in that sense. But but there was a lot of stuff. It wasn't to the hoarder level though. But yeah, I could see that. Um, wow, wow. This is such an interesting conversation. So you're in Colorado, you grew up on the East Coast. I'm in the Midwest, Cleveland, Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
and I have seen it with other elders in her age range.
Yeah.
So
It's a paradigm that they were raised with, I imagine.
absolutely, I
You
believe.
know, I remember when Rachel was talking in her book, We All Should Be Millionaires, and she was talking about her two different aunts who were showing her what was wealth. I think I got that right, or maybe it wasn't two aunts, um, but just seeing how other people lived. Maybe your mom was a friend of someone where they had collections, and your mom thought, "Oh, I'm going to do that."
Well, she does have an eye for very nice things and the value of things, all of that. And I feel like at some point she may have wanted to do something about it, but she clearly hasn't yet. You know,
Mm,
holding to it for the value because it is a collector's item. So I'd love to see
sure.
her do that.
Mm,
Another question for you.
sure.
On this show, I am known as a disruptor coach, right?
Fantastic.
Have disruptive conversations. I love to ask my guests, what did the disruptor in you have to disrupt?
Oh, I've always been a disruptor too, sister. I think the way that my disruptor really comes out is I am wildly sex positive, and I went and studied to become a certified erotic blueprint coach.
Ooh,
And so I am so inside of my relationship coaching, along with Clutter, I'm really coaching the whole couple, but not just what they got on their in their house, but how are they interfacing? How are they actually touching each other's bodies? Do they know about this really cool tool, the erotic blueprints? And so I disrupt people's image, I think, around sex because I am so ready to dive deep into that conversation. I don't feel like it needs to be hidden behind any closed doors because I think the more we talk openly about it, the
so
better.
the
And
better.
right now, we have a pretty significant porn issue that's going on that's raising the children into thinking that that's normal. There's
Mm,
not a lot of normal inside of porn. And I'm not anti porn, but that is not where kids should be learning shit like that.
absolutely. Absolutely. I
And so
love
we
it.
do have a bit of a problem that really, I don't know how it's going to get fixed, but I think the more that people start unplugging from that and having communication and connection in real time, will
Absolutely.
be served so much better. So to just break that barrier of not talking about things like that is how I disrupt life.
Absolutely. I love that. I love every doggone thing about this. It keeps people in bondage and so much when everything is like hidden.
Hidden. We do not need to hide that. This is so
Absolutely.
normal and natural for us to have these bodies. Pleasure is our birthright.
I feel a lot of it comes from religious sectors in a
Yes,
way
ma'am.
to
Yep.
keep people in line,
You
right?
bet.
Good or
Yep.
bad, right or wrong, all of the things. And it holds so many people hostage in a number of ways in their own bodies and how they're viewed, especially women, because
Yeah.
taught who we are before we even know who we are, all of those things.
Yeah.
And I find the more that the family unit talks about it and makes it acceptable,
Yes.
it sets people free. Um, I was very adamant about with my son and raising my son about things like that. We walked around naked.
Yes.
Like
Yes, my mom did that for sure.
the thing,
We were a nudist home for sure.
absolutely.
Yep.
And were we really designed to wear all these clothes and shoes, keeping us disconnected from the earth? Right.
No, no,
But I digress.
no.
I love this disruption that you have here. I love it. I love it. And that treats the whole person. What
Exactly. Yep.
what are some of the common problems that you see in the relationship that people come to you for? Because I would imagine some don't even realize they need you yet, and then they
I agree. I think, the reason I'm promoting the clutter, because I do believe truly that clutter is a major pain point for couples.
yeah,
And that is a nice benign place. And
mm,
I mean, benign, that's in quotes for sure, because nothing is truly benign if it's a pain point, but
all right,
it's not going to freak people out to get some help with
around that.
that. And
I,
so it gives me the opportunity for people to know, like, and trust me and understand that I'm there for their highest good of how they're going to live in their sanctuary, how they can craft that sanctuary. together, not just one person going, this is what is how it's going to be. I really think that a lot of people lose out when someone says, oh, I'm going to decorate the house, because there's no voice then for the other person. There's no connection with their own home. So I really am a proponent for two people coming together as a team and negotiating, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Especially, yeah, space that you're gonna live in. I love that. I love that so much. Um, wow.
oh,
Wow.
so I just realized I got taken off on the thread. But so I do believe that clutter is the first entry point. It's the customer journey, man. That's where we're going to start for the most part. And they're going to have an opportunity to sit and understand where I'm coming from, but also we're going to make some big transformation in their home. And I just am myself, so I'll probably be talking about other things as well. And they'll understand that I have a 12-month coaching package that I'm very, very passionate about, to take them through every month this beautiful, it's a beautiful journey of creating safety with
Yeah.
a lot of the things that are in the book, you know, nervous system, communication, all that stuff. Like, we're building a foundation of how to drop in deeper together as humans. And then once we have that safety and those things in place, then we get to open up the Pandora's box of the erotic blueprints.
Mm.
And just a tiny little bit. Have you ever heard of erotic blueprints?
I have not, girl. You know it's in my notes. We were gonna talk about it.
Okay, great. So erotic blueprints were created by this woman named Jaya, who was a sexologist for 20 years. And
Mm.
she was gathering all of this information and data from the people that she was helping, that she
Yeah.
was seeing similar frameworks, where very similar to the Five Languages of Love. Are you familiar with that book? Fantastic. So it's very similar to that. The Five Languages of Love is basically how you like to be loved and how you like to give love.
Right.
Well, the erotic blueprints are how you like to be touched and how you like to give touch.
Mm.
And honestly, a lot of people, just like with the differences in the clutter thresholds, sometimes they don't mash up. They don't have the same blueprint. So the
Right.
communication in their sexual life is really missing each other. Like, one might be an energetic and the other one might be kinky. And so they're really missing each other, but they don't know that. They don't even know those categories.
Absolutely. And even sometimes, right, they're just receiving whatever is
Well
given
said.
to them because
Well
they
said.
probably have not even given it to themselves.
That is so true.
Excuse me. So I
Thank you.
totally get that wholeheartedly, because I know women personally that have never enjoyed it
Yep, exactly.
because
Heartbreaking.
they're just allowing someone else to
To
dictate.
direct. Mm-hmm.
This is some good stuff. Let me grab some water.
Yeah, I needed some too.
It's my coconut water is taking me out.
But I do want to say that program, the 12-month program, Nourish Your Intimate Life, that's what it is. Nourish Your Intimate Life with Colette Roy. And it will take individuals, not just couples, through this process, because I think, like you said, so many of us don't really know what gets us going,
Mhm.
because maybe we don't have a self pleasure practice. And I'm here to say, everybody, get one.
Absolutely. I heard a term too, solo sex. I was like, ooh, I think I like that.
That's definitely fun. That is fun.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow. So tell us more about the 12-month program. What else do they experience? What can they may
So
be interested
let's
of?
see, the first month, it's the communication. I think it's really important that we start there. They learn how to have that connection and that safety, because as we're going down the line, they have to know how to talk about what's happening for them. So
Mhm.
we start there, then we move into nervous system, because that's again going to take everyone out of their body to some extent if they start to get triggered.
Yeah.
um, and then I don't have it in front of me because I didn't think I was going to talk about this. Let's see.
What you want to talk about, my dear?
I just I had no, I mean, I just love talking about clutter. I love talking about relationships. I love talking about communication. So right now I'm working on I'm selling a online course, my first one ever. And it's how to organize your garage without killing your partner.
The garage or your drawers? Which one?
Garage.
Okay.
Garage.
I'm like, not the drawers taking them out. Okay. So tell
No,
us, why did you create this course?
again, I feel like it's a really good vehicle. It's a really good vehicle to get two people into a space that they're probably both using. They both probably have stuff that the other one's like, why do you have this? Why are you keeping this? I would love to have my car in here. So trying to get people to
Woo,
clear it out, to really ask those questions, to get curious about what it is that they're keeping in a garage and what is it that they want the garage to be for. Like maybe they've never ever even talked about that. Like what would be beautiful? Do you want to have a workout space that you can use and we can make it really beautiful? Or do you want a new craft area? Or do we want to park the cars in so we have better resale and they're not so hot or they're not full of snow or whatever it is? But most importantly, I want people to learn how to talk nicely to each other and to team solve problems, because
absolutely. Because
I
that's
see a
the whole
lot of
goal.
opposition.
Yeah.
That's what I see. I see a lot of people going, why are you doing it this way? And that's, the world is funny because we all think everyone does the things that we do the same way. We don't. We do not do that, people. Everyone is different. And so to figure out how to understand what your partner does and what you do, and
Yeah.
then find a beautiful, happy medium versus you're doing it wrong or I need you to do it my way. Because that's really not going to solve. That's really going to put a big damper on sex. Huge.
I see that. I love this so much. Where can the people find you?
I'm everywhere at Clutter and Couples, all
Cool.
spelt out. Clutter and Couples. Yep, I'm on TikTok, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, and I have a website, and I have that book, and I have my garage course, and all these things are available. I haven't really promoted the 12-month program yet. I feel as though I want to know people before that starts. I need to know that they're the right fit for me and I'm the right fit for them.
Okay.
I really truly want to work with couples who are really in love with each other.
So question around that is, do you do any work virtually or do you travel? Do you go on tour and help people and
I
maybe?
haven't. I mean, I've been mainly focused in Boulder. I've thought about doing a VIP week where it would be the whole house. It would have a hefty price tag that would come with it. Uh, and we would be going after it. So people would need to be really, really capable of big, long days.
I love,
So
yeah. Mm.
yeah.
What I, and I would imagine they really just want you to do it. You
You really
strategize what
can't
it
do
looks
that.
like. Yeah.
You really can't, sister. Because honestly, the first step in any organizing project, is you're going to go through and you're going to get rid of things that you don't need, want, or like.
Yeah.
That's the first step. You're going to decrease your inventory. Once we know what your true inventory is, then we will actually create the right organization for it.
Mm. That's good.
It's
That's
it's
really good.
that's the very biggest key, is to purge your stuff. I mean, because everyone's going to find something that they don't need, they don't want. You
Hmm.
open your silverware drawer, you're going to find a ton of stuff in there that doesn't need to be in there, you
No.
know? And
Yeah.
that's what I would tell people, start small, start in just one drawer, because that's going to start the muscle, that's going to start the momentum. You're going to open that drawer every day because you're always getting silverware. So you're going to experience what it's like to have an organized drawer that you're always seeing. So it's going to be incentive for you to have other drawers.
Yeah.
So go to the drawer down below, the silverware drawer, and just purge that out. And this, I tell you, you're going to feel better as you start to purge all this stuff that you don't ever touch or use.
Absolutely. That so I'm always curious. I gotta ask you, what was your most memorable or favorite project and why?
I think one of my favorites was helping a woman create her art sanctuary. It's like,
Mm,
oh, yes, that is speaking to me.
yeah,
And it was a beautiful space, but it wasn't organized. It had a lot of stuff just jammed in up against it. And there was a lot of things that she got rid of. She's like, yeah, no, I haven't used it. Like this has become a storage space more
mm,
than anything. And what I want it to be is a sacred space where I create art. And I thought,
yeah.
well, yeah, we got to get rid of some stuff. And I think so many people have have rooms in their homes that they totally could use for really, really inspiring sacred things, but they're using it as a storage unit.
Yeah.
And with stuff they never use.
And it's probably like really stagnant,
Stagnant, mother.
negative energy because you put it over there because you don't want to deal with it.
Totally. And that's a lot what's in the garage too.
Mm,
So the stagnation in the garage is not serving the rest of the house because honestly, the garage is almost the first thing that I think that I would start in with people. Garage and basement, because what we want to do is we want to clear out the stuff that is no longer being used, liked, or wanted. That
right,
stuff leaves, that's now opening space for us to take things out of the house that they're not ready to get rid of, but doesn't need to live in the day to day. So
right.
now we have space to actually store things that we really need, want, and want to hold on to. And it doesn't have to be jammed into the house, or at least in the day to day zone. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about you brought up no like and trust. So I want to get in your business a little bit.
Okay.
What what most cluttered season of your life was there? And how did it affect your relationship?
Interesting. It's interesting. I lived in the same apartment for a decade
Mm-hmm.
and I had a pretty significant amount of crap. Um, and I married a beautiful human being, um, wonderful man, and we got rid of everything we owned. This was in my 30s.
Yeah.
And so I did a full clear. I like got rid of everything. And I
When you
was a
got married.
Yep. And
Mhm.
but we left the country with a tent and backpacks to
All
go and
right.
learn how to sail. So we went down to St. Martin and I had sent my mom 7 pretty big boxes of things that I thought were must keeps.
Mm,
I don't know, black leather boots that I didn't want to get rid of. Who knows? All my photo albums, stuff that you really want to not get rid of. And I sent it to
right.
my mom down in Florida. And as we were off on this adventure, those boxes were in her shed. And so we get back after a 7-month journey, no home base, nothing on the planet that we own other than these 7 boxes that I have. And we go and visit my mom and I go, oh, I'm going to go just check my boxes. And they were full of cockroaches. Everything went into the trash.
Oh,
Everything.
heck. Well,
I kept nothing. It
that
was
was one
disgusting.
way to get rid of some stuff.
I know. I was so sad that I sent it. I spent a ton of money sending it. But anyway, everything went away. And what I will tell you is I'm still breathing.
Yeah.
I'm still alive. I mean, we've had so many fires here in Colorado where people have lost their homes and everything inside of them.
Yeah,
And it's just stuff.
it is.
It's just stuff. My life is not sad because of it. There might be a couple of photos, maybe 3 photos in my life that I thought, oh, I would like to have that photo, but I'm not dying because of it. So
Absolutely.
our attachment to stuff is really interesting. And just last month, I did a really interesting gig. Um, One of my clients is a lawyer, and she says, "Hey, you're interested in helping this family who just lost their brother?" And I went and cleared out this deceased man's apartment, and
Mm,
I was there by myself, and there was a lot of stuff. There's a lot of
yeah.
stuff, and I was in this man's life for about a week and a half
Mm.
and just
Oh, that's a
It's,
that. Ooh,
it was hardcore.
and
I wrote an
right,
article about it,
the
and
way you phrase that like sent chills. You were in his life.
I was in his life. I was seeing how he lived. I was seeing what was in his fridge. I was seeing all the things that he was interested in, the books, and he was interested in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I was the one who was tasked at getting rid of it all.
Mhm.
And I mean, I signed up for the job. I'm not saying it was emotionally sad. I'm happy I did it, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's a real wild ride when you are just carting all of this stuff out of this person's home and it doesn't matter to anybody. The it's nothing. The stuff is nothing, y'all. It's nothing. That's what I'll tell you over and over. And so when people get caught up and they're paying for a storage unit because they don't want to get rid of stuff that they never see, I'm like,
Yeah.
please think about how you would want to spend that money in a different, fun way.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying about my mother, right?
Totally.
I want
Yes.
you to, I don't want to, we're not selling it. We're
She's
gonna
not going to
get
let you sell it.
rid of
No.
it. No, I'm saying if it's left up to us, we're not selling it. I have two brothers. We're getting rid of it. I said, give them what you want them to have now. Like, I don't want none of it. I
I
get the
mean,
mink. That's that's the only thing I'm getting. I'm taking the mink. But all that other stuff, I don't live like that. But I can put the mink to some good use, even though I'm not I hope
sure.
people don't get me.
Sure,
I
sure,
didn't
sure.
buy it, but I will wear it.
Right.
It'll keep me warm.
It will.
And yeah, so wow. But the fact that you call that out being in someone's life, I think that could be a good way to get someone else to clean out their things. Are you
As
gonna
I
look?
said, I wrote an article and a lot of people responded to it. They wrote me and they said this was really meaningful. I don't want to have to do that with my mom's stuff. I hope she goes through it before I have to be the one to just get rid of all the stuff. And I think I have another book in me. I think it's going to be Clutter and Death. But
Mm,
it's also it's sort of being done already. I mean, I would have my spin on it, of course, but you've heard of the Swedish death cleaning? Have you heard of that? No. Okay. It's a book that's out. It's sort of hot right now. It's maybe been on the market for about a year. And apparently the Swedes, I haven't read it yet, but it's this concept of prepare for your death. Like don't think it's never going to happen and don't leave all this stuff for all your kids or whoever it is that's going to have to deal with it.
yeah, I'm about
Yeah.
that life. I'm about that life. It'll be very minimal. My kid already know. And the other part of that, since we're bringing up death,
Yeah.
I believe like funerals are for the living, not for the dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't know.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
It's like, do what you want. It's for you.
That's right.
Don't feel like you gotta honor anything that I want in my death. My mother keeps telling me she don't like to be burned up. I told her, I assure you, you won't feel a thing. You didn't like that too much.
Oh
Um,
my God. That's real though. That's real.
I believe she will. I don't know.
She will.
I haven't been here, before to come back to tell her, but I don't think she will.
I don't think
I'm
so.
just saying
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that this is like lighting me up in ways I never knew that I would imagine.
Hmm. That's awesome.
What is one area of your home that still challenges you? Is there one?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. I live in 860 square feet. So I live in a small little spot and I have way more stuff than I should have. I mean, everything is tidy. I like to live with an aesthetic that feels not too much.
Hmm.
But I got a lot of stuff stashed, my friend. I got a lot of stuff stashed. And I have a shed that I just cannot keep organized. It's really hard. Seasonally, I really want people to just not judge themselves. Like things come in, things go out. You know, the poor people who have kids where it's just like, that is a tidal wave of stuff coming into their house all the time.
I believe it's definitely if you've got more than one.
Oh, yes.
I would buy my kid things, and then when it was time to get something else, I would take and put that back in the box and go take it back. And
Oh,
then
that's smart. Right.
get the other thing. Because I grew up with a hoarder. So I
Yeah.
got systems to not have a lot of stuff.
Right, right. And you know, that's typically, I mean, it's not always that way where the child will be completely different than the parent. I find that more oftentimes than not, people will sort of maybe gravitate to how they were raised because it feels safe, you know. So if people did have a childhood that had a lot of stuff around it, they probably, as an adult, might feel safe to have a lot of stuff around them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not always the case. And also, it's another thing that people think is that it's genderized, that, you
Mm,
know, one gender is the one who's always the one who's organized.
yeah.
That's not true either. No, that's a 50-50 in my book so far.
I feel you. What you mentioned a lot of resources and things like that. What is one that affected you the most? Was it a book, a podcast, like that you could share with others that kind of helped you on your journey?
Yeah, totally. I would love to. I think when I got divorced from my husband, it was 4 years of just deep, deep self inquiry because
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't want to do what I had been doing since I was 15. I got into relationships at 15 and went straight up to 50 from one to the next.
Mm.
And I didn't understand why, but
Yeah.
now I do. They were a life vest that made me feel safe and made me feel loved, even
Mm.
though sometimes they weren't happy, and you know, sometimes there was major disappointments going on, but there was some type of safety net there for me that I didn't understand. And so it wasn't until I was no longer in relationship, I started my first book that really illuminated so much was Codependency for Dummies. Woo!
Mm.
That one nailed me. That one taught me so much, and that was the spoke at which I went from one to the next to the next. And the next one was Attached. And that one taught me about my attachment style and how it had happened and how it affected all
Mm.
of these relationships, all of my life. And then the nervous system came in when I was learning about becoming the erotic blueprint coach. I never, ever in my life identified as someone who had trauma.
Mm.
And it just, I didn't have a big trauma, you know, nothing that we would consider, or at least I would consider. I wasn't raped. I wasn't, I didn't have a death, blah, blah, blah. And so now, I mean, thankfully, the world is starting to recognize that it doesn't need to be a big T for it to be just as impactful.
Absolutely.
And I think every single one of us who's walking on the planet is coping with something that at some point created a whole bunch of fear inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever it is, go and find it. Go and find it and understand how it has impacted how you make decisions in life, because you can change that. And
Absolutely.
I think I love listening to Gabor Mate. I love him so. He's so great. I was listening to him this morning. Have
Who
you
is that?
listened? Do
That
you know
sounds
him yet?
that sounds familiar.
He wrote a book called what is it? The Myth of Normal. It was such a
Mm.
great title. Ooh, such a good title. But you can see him anywhere on YouTube. Honestly, listen to him in person. Listen to him on YouTube. His books are really dense, but to have him explain it, man, oh man, he's got some really beautiful data to give to us.
Mm. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is
Yeah,
what so some great resources.
yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Mm.
Uh, let me see. I think I got about one or two more questions left
Sure.
for you. Good for that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what I got in my toolbox here. What does a clear relationship look like to you?
Ooh, what a great question, Selena. Yes. Okay. For me, in my perception of it, and I'm, you know what, before I get myself in trouble with the rest of the planet, this is for my relationship. This isn't for how other people need to be.
Mm-hmm.
You get to be exactly how you want. But for what I'm experiencing right now in my life, I think you said clean, right? Or
Clear,
clear?
clean.
Clear. Okay. We'll go with
I just
clear
want to
and
put
clean. But a clean relationship is a full a full owning of my own autonomy, that I am just me. Yes, I am in relationship with another human. We don't live together. We don't sleep in the same bed. When we even do sleep over, it's I have my life and she has her life.
Mm.
And I have been the most healthy I've ever felt in my life because I am not putting my stuff on someone else. They're not putting it on me. There's some really sweet boundaries of connection, but there's also these really lovely boundaries of, yeah, I think you're in my lane too much. I
Mm.
don't, I don't want that much feedback about my life right now.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to say that, and it's,
Candor. Mm-hmm.
what's that?
Candor. Yeah.
Yeah,
Be
right.
candid.
Yeah,
I love
candid.
that.
Oh, yes, candid. I love that. I really love that word. I've never used it in my life, but I'm going to. I love it. And so the work that she and I have been doing with this dyad work has, like I said, really allowed for me to understand I don't need to hold anything that doesn't feel good. I can actually bring it into this container. And so things are clean. They are squeaky clean. That's what we'd say. We do this because we want to be squeaky clean with each other.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
it. I
And
love
that squeaky clean allows for so much juiciness
I bet.
because we're not feeling disconnected. And the disconnection comes from the fact that I never knew how to communicate. I think I was busy keeping the peace. My
Mm.
mom would always say, "Oh, don't rock the boat.
Yeah,
Don't rock
that's
the
the
boat."
one. Don't rock the, don't rock the boat. That's another code word for keep the peace. Lord have mercy.
So, but that's a great question. I
I,
love it. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. Well, I've got one more question for you
Sure.
before we get out of here because we've told the people how to find you, where to find you, all of the things. And maybe I got two. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, totally. Oh my God. I mean, we need another hour, but hopefully I'll come back and I'll just interview you if that's okay.
That works.
That would be lovely. I'd love to hear about your program that you told me about. Um, let's see, what do I really want to know? Okay, were you ever married?
3 times.
Ah, yes. Okay.
I've got married at 16.
Okay.
I was a sophomore in high school. That was my first marriage. We were married in total for 4 years. We were only together for about a year and a half. I
Okay.
got married not because of love or I was in love with him. I loved him, but I got married because I wanted to get out of my grandparents' house.
Okay.
And a boy asked, and I was like, sure. And we got along great. I don't even know if we ever really fought until he pissed me off. He We separated for a short period because he was sticking his penis in somebody else. That was, I don't even know if I was mad. I was more teaching him a lesson because I was doing my own thing.
Okay.
So, and I was just open-minded, right?
Yeah.
You know, and but I think I left because he got caught, right? So I had
Mm,
to let him know what it feels like to be without me,
yeah.
right? And then we got back together, I think about 8 months later. And then we talked. We were candid with each other, right? And we had this compromise that he used to like to get high, marijuana.
Sure.
It's like that can't work every day.
No.
How about only on the weekends?
Sure.
So that was the agreement. And one day he decides he wants to go out and it's a Thursday. And I'm like, I don't think you should do that because you're going to be getting high.
Right.
And he was like, well, I'm going. I was like, well, if you go, I won't be here when you get back. He's like, well, that's just something I have to deal with. Honey, he had been dealing with it ever since. I was out. I didn't like play games.
It's a good boundary. I like that. I like that you upheld your boundary.
Oh yeah, it was all about me, honey. Couldn't you
Nice.
tell?
Nice.
And then my second marriage, and actually I stayed married to the first husband, kind of like a defense mechanism. I didn't want it, I wanted to be free. That's what it was all about, right? Getting
Mm,
married got me free from my grandparents. That, and I loved them. I just felt like I was in a prison though. My grandmother was highly religious, and if I didn't go to church on Sunday, I couldn't go and do anything else. And it was not what I was used to because I lived with my mother and my brothers, and
right.
I had a lot of freedom. And when she sent me to live with my grandparents, I didn't fully understand why. I didn't even know. I found out about that maybe 3 years ago, what the real reason was.
Hmm.
And so then I'm living my best life, doing what I want to do, all of the things. And this boy comes along. I'm at work. He'd come through my drive-through every day. Every time I heard his voice, I already knew what he wanted to order. He'd order the same thing all the time. And, I thought he was a nice guy, whatever. I didn't know he liked me or anything like that. And then I go to the club one night and me and my girlfriends, and I see him there. And then he wants to hog all my time and all of the things. And we take goo gobs of photos. He's buying all these photos and everything. And then, of course, he wants more. But I hang out with other people. I wouldn't even say I was dating. I would just hang out with other people. I,
Sure.
I see people as friends.
Right,
So
right.
of course he wants more, and I'm just doing my thing. And then he realizes that I'm seeing other people, and he's like, since I got some competition, I'm gonna start fighting like a champ and not a chump. And so he just like put everybody in dust. Let me tell you how he started fighting. When he found out about the dude, he sent me 2 dozen long stem roses at work, right?
It's a good gesture.
And that's what the card said. Since I got some competition, unbeknownst to me, he sent my mama roses.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
What?
sweet.
He
Is
was
this husband number two or three?
husband number two,
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks.
preacher's kid. I'm a little bit of a storyteller, so I'll wrap it up here real
No,
quick.
no, no.
Okay. And he was a preacher's kid. And I'm thinking, I'm too worldly. He had never been with another woman physically,
Oh.
right? Intimately. And I'm thinking, I'm too worldly. You know, I'm good over here, right? And I had decided you need to be with someone else. I don't even want children or anything. You deserve that. He was one of the best humans I ever.
Oh. Oh, I love that.
I liked him more than I loved him.
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
I also recognize that I was not in love with him.
Mm.
I married him for my mother.
Oh.
She wanted me to be married. She wanted me to be well taken care of, all of those things. I
Oh, sure.
none of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
He treated me like a princess. I wanted for
Mm.
nothing, and he would kill a rock and fight a bear about me.
Oh.
I didn't really feel like I deserved all that, but
Mm.
he was he was so kind and generous and all of the things that a woman would want.
I'm surprised that you didn't love him. Why didn't you love him, do you think?
I loved him. I wasn't in love like
Okay,
that.
why weren't you in love?
Oh, I don't, well, what I learned during the marriage is that I was actually in love with someone else.
Oh.
I didn't realize that until I got married. And the other dude, everything, it was just really free with him. And I told him I was getting married. We both always saw other people, but we would come together and it would be just eclectic. The sex was a fucking amazing, like all of the things, right? And I told him, I was like, you don't want to marry me. I'm going to marry this other guy. He's like, I'm coming to
Mm.
the church and I'm going to discuss that. I was like, no, you're not. You ain't coming. No. And so, but I did let him come to the reception because my trainer thought I was young. By this time, I'm 20. 23, going on 23.
Very young. Yeah.
And, or was I 22? I was 23. I think I was already 23. And I let him come to the reception. And my train of thought was you'll meet somebody at the reception.
Oh,
It
that's
wasn't
funny.
like he wasn't seeing other people. And so, and my husband, who would become my husband, he knew this stuff. Like I was open book. I didn't lie. If you ask me, now I may not tell you something, but if you ask me, then I'm gonna tell you. And
Hmm.
so we were married. The marriage was great. However, I still had what people would call promiscuous ways. And so I was fooling around with a whole different dude, somebody that I work with. We'd be sneaking around in the closet just because of the sex, right? That's all it was. It was nothing. I was married, he was married. Um, and I started realizing like my marriage was so good that like what the hell am I doing? Like why am I
Mm,
doing this? Like,
mm,
right? I started maturing. I was very immature. Everything was about me.
mm,
And I realized I'm like, I need to go home and be the wife that my husband deserves.
mm. Do you
Was
think you were self-sabotaging? If you look back in that moment, do you think that you thought, I'm not worthy of this love?
I don't know. I never felt like that. I felt like I didn't feel like I was gonna get caught. I felt like to be honest, what I felt like, because one time I went and hung out with the dude in Columbus that he knew about that is the reason why he sent me them roses in the first place. And he said that someone had called the house and told on me that I was in Columbus seeing
Mm,
some guy. He didn't
mm,
ask me if it was true, any of that. So to me, it was just information. Okay. So clearly somebody told on me, and I know who it was because I know who I was with, and I know who knew where I was because they were with me,
mm,
right? So I just on my own started realizing, let me be the wife that my husband deserves. But what was taking place at the time was in the marriage, I kept saying to myself, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to be with the other guy.
mm,
I started realizing, and I don't even know if I really realized it because it never dawned on me until way later that I was really in love with him.
mm, mm,
And I probably should not have gotten married.
right.
And so we were married for about 7 months. I decided, I was like, now mind you, I said I didn't want any children. I told him, don't marry me, think we're gonna have kids. He would just give me anything I want. And I decided, I was like, he's such a good person. He deserves to be a father. So I said, we can do it. We'll have kids. And this was really my way of making a penance, right? Like
Interesting.
writing that, right? I didn't know this stuff about me until 4 or 5 years ago.
I get you. Yeah.
And and I started, being the wife that he deserved. I said, let's try to get pregnant. I said, but let me tell you something. He was like, oh, I want me a little girl because little girls love their daddies. I was like, there can only be one queen in here. You get a boy, unless you knock me up and we get twins and it's a girl and boy. That's
That's
first.
funny.
And then I said to him, in all honesty, and we talked about everything. I was like, I don't believe that I could be someone's mother. I don't think I can do it by
Mm,
myself.
mm,
And he said to me, I will never leave you. I don't know how much time went by. Um, in that span of things, we thought we were pregnant. We went to go get a pregnancy test, and he's like, no, let's wait and be surprised. And then my husband died. He died of an asthma attack. We were having a conversation.
oh
Um,
my gosh.
exactly.
Oh my
Devastating.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Devastating, right? I feel I've lived at least 4 lives,
No
at
kidding.
least. And and so when he died, it was 8 days before my 24th birthday. February 12th. My birthday's February 20th. I
Wow.
didn't know what to do with that because that wasn't part. We had planned vacations for the next 10 years out. Like
Oh
life
my gosh.
so
Oh,
great. We were planning for this baby. When he died, I thought I was pregnant. Like all of these things. And it's like,
wow.
what the hell is
Totally.
happening? Like it,
Mm-mm.
and he had an asthma attack. He died of acute asthmatic bronchitis. We knew he had the asthma. He was being treated for the asthma, like all of the things. And a span of about 1 or 2 minutes went by where we were having a conversation. And I went to where he was physically. We were in two separate rooms, and his eyes were bloodshot red and he was foaming at the mouth.
Oh, honey. Oh.
I fucking lost it. And what I realized
Oh,
now, mind you, remember I told you my mother sent me to live with my grandparents.
right.
Now my husband dies.
Ooh,
Abandonment is setting in, but I don't know that either,
right.
right?
Right. I get you. I get you.
Then um there's so much grief. I lived in grief for probably 30 something years.
Oh,
I
shit.
just figured all of this out when I had this last uh marriage, my third marriage.
Well, let me wait real quick though. Did you not get pregnant? Were you
I
not
was
pregnant?
not pregnant.
Okay, okay,
What
okay.
had happened was,
Hmm.
so I really probably need to write a book. I got about 4 books in me.
Hmm.
And I was not pregnant. I had 4 pregnancy tests and they all kept coming back negative.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh wow. Right? Because that's what by this time, this is what I wanted. This is what we're thinking of, but I wanted it with him.
Right.
Right. So I get back on the pill. I start seeing this dude as my friends are coming to feel like I should turn the light on. It was broad light when we were got started.
You
If
still look the same to me.
Oh, great. And
Yeah.
I thought my glasses were trying to kick in because they're those
Oh,
reflective.
oh, oh, oh.
So and I haven't shared a lot of this. I've shared pieces of it. I thought we were pregnant. This guy, he's in my circle that were coming by to like check on the widow, right? And all the time it would be a group of us and we go to dinner and everything. So the guy, just starts calling and checking on me more. And his energy was a lot like my husband's.
Oh. Hmm.
Running baths for me, like all of the things. And I started realizing I miss my damn husband, right? I miss that, like that conversation and that connection and everything. So we started hanging out individually. And the first time I sleep with his ass, I got pregnant.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Oh, geez. Were you ready to dive in that deep?
No,
Oh,
I wasn't feeling him like that. It was just he was filling that void, right? And being honest, I wasn't feeling any of them like that, right? There were reasons why. And
yeah,
if
I get it.
people are really honest with them, there are really reasons why they get in relationships, right? It serves some kind of need,
100%.
feel some kind of something,
Totally. Yeah.
right? And so I get pregnant, and then I'm like, now this preacher's kid. So I'm telling my in-laws that I want to see this guy. They're telling me to take him over somewhere else. It was my father-in-law because he's the pastor, right? Take him over on the other side of town where people don't know you and all of that. Because it had only been maybe 6 months by the time that I recognized that I'm pregnant. And I'm pregnant and I'm still having a period. And so the furthest thing from my mind when I was feeling sick, I thought I had the stomach flu.
Crazy.
I go to the doctor. I tell my best friend to go with me because I could like barely lift my head up off the table and I'm going to work and everything. And the doctor comes in and he's like, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, what? He's like, you're pregnant. And I'm like, well, how did that happen? Like,
Hmm.
and he starts to tell me, I'm like, no, I know how it happened. I just could not believe that
Especially since you're still bleeding.
I'm hearing that I'm pregnant, right? Well, I'm like, what the hell? Well, that's the stuff that birth control does to you, right?
Oh,
I had been on it for years since I was 15 before I got married. Um, and um, and I'm like, dang, like what's going on? And so then they think that it's an ectopic pregnancy.
oh,
And so now he's telling me, if you don't have this baby, it's a likelihood you won't ever be able to have children.
oh,
And if anybody met me, you don't tell me what I can and can't do. Right.
nice.
And I decided dang, dang. That was so overwhelming because remember, my husband had just died. I took a
Yeah.
leave of absence from work. I was like,
Mm,
I need to figure out like what I want to do because I went from not wanting a kid to now I'm thinking I'm going to have a kid and have this life with my husband. And, we'd be this beautiful family. He'll be a great dad, like all of these things. And now it just erased in like that, right? And so I decide I can't do it. I tell my mother that I'm pregnant because I didn't tell anybody at first. I knew that I wanted to tell the dude. I was like, I'm pregnant. I want to know if you want to be a father or not. Because if you don't, I'm not going to make you one.
hmm
Right?
Yeah, right.
That's fair. I said, however, if you say that you do, then you don't have a say if I decide that I don't want to be a mama.
Mm, mm,
Right? And so that is when I set out to figure out like what do I want to do?
sure. And
Like
you're how old at
I
that point?
by this
24?
time I'm 24,
Okay.
right? By the time I delivered the baby, I was 25.
Mm,
And so I I decide when I tell my mother, she was like, "Oh my God." She was like, "I hope you have a girl so she can be just like you." And I was like, "That sounds like a curse." Like, what? So I'm like, and she's like, come home. Now, mind you, I'm married. We have a whole house, like all of the things. Like, I'm not coming home. I'm 25. I haven't been home since I was 16, maybe for a short period when I separated from the first husband.
hmm
That 8 month period, I came home. But I want my freedom. I'm used to being out here. I can't even imagine what that looks like coming back with a baby. And so I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So ultimately I decide I'm going to have an abortion. I'm not going to go through with it, right?
hmm
I can't do it. I can't do it alone. All of that. Like having a baby out of wedlock. I wasn't raised like that. Like all the things came up, right?
hmm
I called my girlfriend to go with me. And I had just gone with her like months before, right? Like maybe about 2 months before. And she puts her grandmother on the phone. Now she was in my wedding. I've known her since we were 10, like all of the things. And her grandmother gets on the phone. It's like, baby, when the Lord gives you something, it's a blessing. You
mm
cannot be throwing your best blessings away. Oh my
mm
God, what is she
mm
doing that for? Right? So then I like gotta go back and look at this from another angle.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
well, can I do this? This is a blessing. I'm doing all right. I can afford it. I can take care of a baby. Um, what do I want to do with that boy? Like all
Mm.
of the things, because now I want to give the baby his best fighting chance. And I always knew it was a boy from the very
Oh,
beginning,
interesting.
right? So I tell him, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna keep the baby. I don't know what you want to do. I want my son. I don't want him growing up wondering why his father, wasn't there and all of these things. So I'm like, okay. So then I decided to leave the house. I give the house back to his parents. And I move out. We move in together and all the things. And it was just crazy as hell. Um, it was for a lot of reasons, like not necessarily on my part, but what happened, because one of the things that my mother told me once I decided that I was going to do it is mama's baby, daddy's maybe. You have this baby knowing that you're the one that's responsible for it and then gotta show up. And then the conversation that I had with God was, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my best, right? Because I know that this is a gift that you've given me, right? And
Mm.
so when my mother told me that, I took that on like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Was the next phase of my life, being someone's mother. I
Totally.
became Richard's mom. Like everybody called me that, right? And
Mm.
I dedicated my life to allowing him to be the best human that he could be, right? So I needed to become the best human that I could be. But I was grieving the whole time. I did not know this. And then I go back to work from maternity leave, fast forward, and I would meet my third husband on the same day that I came back to work.
Oh.
So many layers, I know.
Oh.
We ended up in an affair for 3 years because he recognized. He's the first person to tell me that I was grieving. I was 25. He was 8 years older than me. A lot more wisdom, all of the things. He tells me he wants me to be a kept woman, all of these things. I was used to that. That's how my husband tried. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm with the baby daddy.
Right. But
He's
not married to the baby daddy.
no, wasn't gonna
No.
be married to nobody. Period.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm kind of torn because I hooked up with the guy that I really loved during this time period, right? And I started realizing I couldn't be with him. When I hooked up with him, I didn't know it at the time. I had so much damn guilt.
Mm.
I I told him I need time. Well, I didn't take time. I went and got pregnant by another dude that I didn't want to even be with, right?
Yeah.
Like all of these things were happening. Then I meet this other dude that wants me to be a kept woman, all of these things. I'm making decisions and choices that I shouldn't be making because now he's married,
Mm. Mm.
right? And then we do that for 3 years under everybody's noses. Nobody knows other than my mother because she knows her daughter. And then I had a best friend to be like, he acts like he's your husband, kind of, because he would just be concerned about me all the time. And we worked together,
Mm.
went to work for them. And so fast forward 3 years go by. The baby daddy's out. I put him out. He's doing all kinds of shit. And so he comes by more often because he got freedom. I Nobody's in my space, right? And so that goes on to where he decides I want a divorce. Well, I wasn't trying to do that. I was
Totally.
not trying to break up anybody's home.
Sure, sure, sure.
That's not who I am. And I didn't even know he was going to tell his wife.
Right.
It's like I'm like, what? So she calls, and I'm like, you know, saying all the things. I was like, look, now I ain't scared of you.
Right.
I advise if you want to know what happened or have questions, I'm here for that. I answer any questions that you want. And so we worked that out, and all three of us had that dialogue and that conversation, right? And I went on my way. I lost my job. I got a 3-year-old baby,
Mm.
right? All of these things because he really didn't want a divorce. He stayed,
Right.
right? So now more abandonment sets in, but I don't know it at the time.
Shoot.
Exactly. Fast forward, I then call the guy that I really love. He shows up. We try to have a relationship on and off, on and off, on and off for like 24 years.
Oh, wow.
Dealing with all my shit that I don't know that I'm dealing with.
Right.
So it's showing up in all kind of ways.
Right.
And so I moved to Las Vegas.
Oh, this is where Vegas came.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hearing my gate. I just want to let you know a friend is going to come through the door, so it might be a little loud. I'll tell her
And
that
you
I'm still on this.
okay, because if you want to go, we can cut this up.
We're gonna have to just because she's gonna come, but I don't want to. I mean, clearly this is disruptive to the story, which is a little bit of a drag, but
Hey, but that's what this is all about. Somebody will have to stay tuned and we'll get the rest. The
yeah,
gist of it is
yes,
I married that guy,
you
right?
did.
That's the third guy when I moved
Wow.
to Las Vegas. Yeah.
How
And we
about that?
talked about that off screen, the transformation. that happened for me
Yeah,
and my.
we have to come back to this because I really want to ask all these questions about why Vegas and what happened to the baby daddy. So we got to schedule another one because we're going to go deeper into that story because I
But this
really
is
want
where
to.
it's supposed to end, right?
Okay.
Right here, right
All
now.
right.
I want to thank you for the question. And yeah, I didn't know I was going to get into that. I'm still figuring out how to share that story because it's got so many.
So much. Yeah. And I want to hear how you figured out the abandonment issue too.
Oh, it's so much. Well, you brought up codependency for dummies.
Yeah.
I read codependency no more because when I when
Okay.
I when
Yeah.
I got out of that marriage, I
Come
needed
on
to
in.
figure out how the hell did I get here?
Oh, it's, yeah.
You
Sorry.
know? Mhm.
Still on. Sorry. 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 It's all
It's
happening.
it's right. I set the scene. Like these conversations get really good. This is great. Y'all tuned in. Y'all got all the tea. We appreciate you for hanging in there with us.
So
I don't even
much.
know how long this conversation has gone. This is probably my longest conversation. But
I
this is the
told you I
beauty.
like to talk.
Absolutely. And this is the beauty of YouTube, right? Remember, I told you about that long form content. Well,
That's right.
thank you. Do you have anything else you want to say to the people before we go?
No, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to our chit chat. Um, if you're curious, come and find me because I got all sorts of information for you, more
I,
than this.
I love that. And you all know how we do it. Until next time, take good care of you.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. I love that so much.
All right.
Thanks again, Selena. What a pleasure. Thanks for telling me your story.